Hello, Travel Quest. Oh, hello, Travel Quest Network. It's me, Joshua Harrell, and welcome to the weekly chatter live. I am having some internet issues, so if it gets a little choppy, my good friend and cohort Jason Block is going to step in. So if all of a sudden it switches over, that is Joelle making sure that you don't have a bad experience in the weekly chatter live because we never want that to happen. So again, welcome. Happy Friday. If you are a member of Travel Quest Network and a part of our members only Facebook group, then that's where the conversation is going on. So please join us in sharing your wins, share your challenges, or just say hello if you have, if it's your first time joining us. I always love to see new faces. So yes, so join us there. Happy Friday to you. We like to keep the party going here at Travel Quest Network, even going into the weekend. So this is the way we kind of end the traditional work week and start going into the weekend, right? Living for the weekend, right? Let's see here. I'm going to go over to the chat real quick and see what's going on and say hello to you. Daniela, happy Friday, everyone. Happy Friday to you, Daniela. So good to see you almost every single week. And Cynthia from Birmingham. Hi, y'all. Happy Friday. And Cynthia, I just have to make an apology to you because last week when we had Tatiana had a question and it didn't make it into the show. And I apologize for that because I completely glossed over it and then found it afterwards. So I apologize for that. But I hear you got an answer from Tatiana. So I am glad that she was able to help. All right, Alan, happy Friday, fam. Good to see you, Alan. Stacy, happy Friday, everyone. Haven't seen you in a little while, Stacy. Glad to see you here. Andy joining. Hello, Joshua. I had a fantastic weekend on the Norwegian Prima. It was so motivating to meet Jason, Bonnie, Walt, and so many more travel professionals within Travel Quest Network. And I'm just going to add a hashtag to this because you said truly blessed. Hashtag truly blessed. So glad, Andy, that you could join the crew on the Prima going out of Galveston the other week. I am so I'm I got to be on the Prima, so I can't say I'm jealous, but I am jealous that you guys got to all do it together. So very, very happy that you were able to take advantage of that. Hannah, happy Friday. This is my last weekly chatter for a while. Sad face, sad face. But happy face because she leaves for Morocco on Monday. A big round of applause to you. All right, let's see here. And Rebecca from Texas is saying it was amazing to meet you, Andy. So Rebecca obviously got to enjoy that voyage with you. Amy said, "Happy Friday when finalizing." And if you don't know, Amy is not only a member of Travel Quest Network, but she's also one of my teammates. So if you reach out to agency services, you might just get our Amy. So she is celebrating a win, finalizing a 22-day UK trip for a client and two new clients who found me from my profile that paid her fee. So her plan to go. That's fantastic. And just when she said her profile, if you are not familiar with Agent Profiler, that's what she's talking about. And Amy has a very robust profile. Amy, if you would not be shy and put your link to your Agent Profiler in the chat, I'm sure people would love to go check it out. Plus, you get a little more traffic on your Agent Profiler. Um, Let's see. Stacy said, "Hi, Joshua. You are making the bald head look good. Thank you. Now we're bald brothers. Is that a thing? Is that a thing? Bald brothers. Tell me, is that a thing? Because I am down with it if we can be bros. I love it. Um, yeah. And that's our Joel, our producer. He's going to be chiming in with sound effects, and he's found some new ones that are going to make me giggle, I'm sure. All right. Rebecca said, "Happy Aloha Friday, everyone." Good to see you, Rebecca. Brian, happy Friday. Deborah joins us, says, Happy Friday, TQ Fam Bam. Deborah, who's also a member of Travel Quest Network and also on our amazing agency services team. So I just want to call that out. You might get Deborah. So she's celebrating a win. Lots of groups lined up until 2024, and most contracts are requested. So exciting. Loving our cruise block space, which Velma often talks about. And she says, Thank you, Velma, for showing us that information. And Velma will be here shortly. So we'll make sure that we give her some kudos there. Michelle said, excited to be here today. Can't wait to hear what's happening. There's always something happening, right? What's the buzz, y'all? Amy said, TGIF, buttoning up the details for my group of 30 plus, heading to Margaritaville, Cap Cana next week. Kudos to you. Wow, that's amazing. Stacy said, My win, I've got my first group cruise booking. It should be around 35 people or 10 to 12 staterooms. Challenge, dealing with putting this group together on such short notice. So, the one thing that's missing from that is when you say short notice, when did you have to put together by? So I would love to know that. All right, let's moving on. Lisa, happy Friday to all of you. Happy weekend, Lisa. Good to see you. Sarah's joining us from the carpool lane. She said, booking a trip to Bora Bora from my car for my agent Sydney, who is in Greece. Never a dull day. You're like, oh gosh, I've got to jump in and book this for one of our clients because my teammate is in Greece. Oh, I love it. When we get to travel, we're like, oh gosh, it's just so hard kind of, doing work when we're spending 2 weeks in Europe. Doesn't it definitely sounds like a hardship, right? All right. And Samantha said, Happy Friday. So excited to have won the 40 under 40 influencer awards for her county. Love helping my local families travel, especially my fellow heart/medical families. So exciting for you, Samantha. And we were talking about those lists, those local lists, and they make such a difference just in kind of building that community, that social proof around your brand, especially if you have a foothold in your local market. And they're not that hard to get into. You just have to, find out where how you get on the radar for those lists. And oftentimes it's just reaching out when you see that a media outlet has those type of lists, and local markets don't assume that there's a lot of people in line for them. So be the first one to go after it. All right. As always, we've got an action packed show for you. We're going to have Jason coming up with one of his member interviews that we've been doing, and I'm excited for that one. And then we'll have Velma join us to run through the numbers. I'll give you an update on different events that are coming up for next week, and then Jason's going to come back and give us the headlines. So, keep this party moving. So even though we've got a little bit of a schedule, this is all about our members. So keep the chat alive, and we'll keep monitoring it as we go. So without further ado, I think Jason is standing by with one of our members, Elisa. And let's just say she's got a very interesting business and such a great personality. If you haven't met her yet, I think you'll get a taste and want more and more of Elisa. So Jason, are you there?
Lisa's agency is absolutely one of the top performers in Travel Quest Network and has been for a little while now. And they don't show any signs of slowing down. So I have all sorts of questions for you, and I'm sure everyone who's watching would love to hear from you and get a few of your secrets. But let's just start with this. Number one, thanks for taking the time to be with us on the weekly chatter. But let's start with this. How you approach your agency a little bit differently than many people, but tell us, how did you first come to get into the travel business?
Okay, yes, I have a backward story for most people. So most people become travel agents and then start their social media to promote their travel agency. I was the complete opposite. We started social media. Me and my family started a YouTube channel all about travel. And we were producing YouTube videos, and we had Facebook and Instagram and all those good things. And then people started asking me, well, are you a travel agent? And they were asking me how to plan travel, and I'm just answering their questions on how to plan travel. And then I got the question about 10 times, are you a travel agent? When I started scratching my head going, well, maybe I should be a travel agent. So I became a travel agent, and the two really, really go hand in hand. So those of you that work social media know that social media is a huge part of the business. So I already had the social media following, incorporated the travel agency, and the two just merged perfectly together.
So when you started your YouTube channel, was your YouTube channel the first thing
Yeah.
that you did? When you started the YouTube channel, you weren't thinking about being a travel advisor or having a travel agency. What were you thinking about? What was your idea for doing the channel?
It was a hobby. It was literally just a fun hobby. I was researching travel on YouTube,
Uh-huh.
and we were going on a trip, and we had a little camera, and we were just recording family videos. And our kids were like, well, Mom, why don't you put it on YouTube? And I was like, really? Put it on YouTube? Put what we're doing on YouTube? And they said, yeah, it's cool. Put it on YouTube. And it went from there.
So when you first did it, did you think that anybody would be interested in watching these videos? It sounds like no.
I mean, you hope, you think, because I was watching other people on YouTube.
Uh-huh.
And I was thinking, well, maybe somebody will find our videos interesting. And, our kids were young. This was 7 years ago. So our kids
Uh-huh.
were young back then, and they were all cute. And we would go on trips together. And, we recorded everything. We just had the camera. The kids got comfortable with it. I got comfortable talking to it. And we just recorded everything we did, our days on the cruise ship, our excursions, going to Disney, other types of vacations, and we just put it all out there on YouTube. And so we have, oh my God, don't go watch those old videos. They're really, really bad. But we've definitely come a long way in turning a hobby into professional vlogs and then information about travel.
Right. So, and how many videos do you have out there now? How many have you done?
I think there's over 900 videos out there.
Wow.
We've been doing this a long time.
Yeah. So, what would you say to somebody who is just scared to death of the idea of creating a video?
First off, you've got to get comfortable with that camera. If
Mhm.
you don't want to be on the video, talk behind the video and show it what you're doing. I don't think those do as well, just to be honest, but at least
Right.
it's a start. It's a start getting comfortable because YouTube is the second largest search engine in the world. It's Google and then YouTube. And then guess what? Google owns YouTube. So if you Google something, they show videos if it answers your question. So if you're looking for, say you want to go to a resort in Mexico and you put in the name of the resort, and someone has a YouTube video about it, that's what pops up. So you can
Mhm.
actually visually see it as opposed to just looking at pictures that have probably been doctored, on their website to make it look as best as possible. Video is very clean and it's very honest. And people really
That's
like that in depth.
Yeah, that's what I love about your video content is, a lot of times as we're looking through Instagram and whatnot, everything around travel, or so many things around travel, is so polished and photoshopped, and it's some death-defying stunt that somebody's doing on top of a building, and all that's great, but I absolutely adore your content and how just relatable it is and authentic. And it's as you're watching it, like my wife and I have watched your videos and we're like, oh yeah, like it looks just like us when we go on vacation. And
Yeah,
I don't think everybody out there listening is going to run off and create their own YouTube channel, and nor should they, because share with everybody. It's I won't say it's impossible, but it takes a lot of work. Am I right?
it is a lot of work, and a lot of people don't realize how much work it is because we'll get comments, a video will post and they're like, "Oh, well, I'm right around the corner. Can I come meet you?" I'm like, that was filmed 2 weeks ago." Because you go out, you get the content, you have to come home, and the editing process takes a lot longer than the recording process. So, and that's what people don't realize is that you've got to take that raw footage and make something out of it. So just recording, and I've even got, we're trying to do, Jason does all the YouTube stuff, but I'm trying to do more short form videos on my phone. So recording for Instagram and Facebook and TikTok. I'm not big on TikTok, but I'm trying. So taking all that raw footage and then editing it down into something that people will actually watch. So I've learned you record a lot and you can have like an hour's worth of footage that you record that you cut down to 20 minutes worth of usable content. And
Right.
same thing with short form, you're going to record 5 or 6 minutes that you're cutting down to 30 seconds. So you just have to realize that take a lot and you can cut it down to use the really good stuff.
Right, that's a good tip. So now, if somebody was listening to this and maybe they have no ambition of creating a YouTube channel or being really active even in social video, what are your thoughts on? Are there things people can do even with their existing clients or as part of their sales process with video that would make them more successful, more effective?
I think video is huge. Even if you don't want to be, like I said, on the camera, if you're going on, I'm a big cruiser, so I do cruise ships a lot. If you're going on a cruise ship, take out your phone and just record, the areas of the ship and put a little video together, tour of the Norwegian breakaway, et cetera, et cetera.
Mhm.
And having any type of video content right now, Instagram, Facebook, all of those prefer video to photos. It used to be the other way around, but we're definitely seeing a trend that if we post a photo, it doesn't get the same interaction because we can see that how much, how many impressions and the likes it's getting, etc., as opposed to video. So all of these platforms are promoting video because it creates longer interaction. So the platforms like that. So if you're taking lots of pictures, that's great. Your video will get more interaction than photos will.
That's great. And you're right. More interaction equals more ad dollars for them. So they like
It
that.
does.
That's awesome. Okay, so let's shift gears for a second. Um, so you have an interesting story of getting into the travel business. Now that you're in it, now
Yes.
that you're in it and doing it at a pretty high level, what would you share with folks who have either been in it for a while but maybe haven't achieved the success they want, or people just breaking into the industry now? Now that you have some battle scars from some of the horror stories. What would you share with those folks? Either as a word of encouragement or just great advice.
My biggest thing that if I could have gone back and done something differently would be the organization. I didn't start with a CRM. I started with, I've always been a big spreadsheet person, and I still to this day use a spreadsheet to manage all of my bookings. But a CRM is invaluable. That's something I didn't have in the beginning. And so a lot of my clients from the early days are not in the CRM now, so I can't track them and things like that as easy as I can now. So if you're just getting started and you may not want to spend a lot of money, there are inexpensive CRMs out there, but get one. I personally use Test, and I use the upgraded form of Test because of the automation. And that's something that I just recently started doing. And I spent 2 weeks, I did nothing but focus on creating these automated emails and implementing these automated emails on existing bookings. So now when I set up a new booking, I trigger all these automated emails, and my clients are getting an email thanking them for booking with information on their cruise line, a final payment reminder, an email at 6 months, 3 months, 2 months, 1 month, 1 week, welcome back, 30 days later, are you ready to book your next trip? And I don't have to actually remember to send these. So they're getting all of these reminders from me that I'm not actually having to remember to send, but and I'm getting feedback from them. I'm constantly getting replies to these emails saying, oh yeah, I do need to book a hotel, or oh yeah, how about an excursion in this place? And all of those mean additional dollars. Every hotel you book, you get commission on. Every excursion you book, you get commission on, as long as it's not through the cruise line. Things like that. So all of these little email reminders that I'm sending out are creating additional revenue.
That's right.
And
So,
I'm very organized.
so you started off, as a hobbyist content creator, and then that turned into a travel business.
Mhm.
And now it sounds from your description, you've turned the corner and you're a full-on sales professional.
Yes.
And so I'm curious how your mindset through those stages has evolved,
You
because
get
they're all pretty.
extremely overwhelmed. And then you have to take a step back and go, okay, how is this going to work? And make a game plan on priorities. Like in the very beginning, I was doing all of the social media, all the videos, all the editing, plus being a travel agent. And I couldn't do it all. So Jason now, my Jason, runs the YouTube part of the business. So he does all the recording, all the editing, everything for YouTube is on him. I'll answer comments, things like that. But that's his baby, where the travel agency side is all me.
Hmm. So how you talk about prioritization, and as your business grows, that becomes more and more important, because you can't do it all, right? You have to be able
Yes.
to grow yourself, and that's one of the most common questions we get from advisors and agency owners who have reached a level of success, and they're looking to make that next step of growing beyond themselves.
Mhm.
What advice would you give people on, things they should think about as they look to do that, things to be aware of, or take note of?
Yeah, I'm going to go back to organization. Keep everything straight. Know what you've got going. Know what trips are coming up. What trips are just past. Who you need to follow up with. Finding some way to keep yourself organized will keep you sane, and then it will let you know what areas you have room to grow in. If if you've got more than you can handle, do you need a sub agent? Do you need somebody else that can work with you? If you can't handle everything yourself, then you know that you need somebody to step in and help you. Because if you get to the point where you can't handle everything yourself, either things are going to not happen they should, or you're just going to get overwhelmed and have a meltdown. So sometimes having that person help me, and you met Sarah. Sarah's my right hand person. I couldn't do this without her. So having someone to lean on is very helpful.
That's great. So let's play a little quick game of rapid fire here. Let's find out what makes Elisa tick. Okay. Yeah, I know you do a lot of cruise business. What is your favorite type of non-cruise vacation?
Disney. I'm a huge Disney nut.
I
Yeah, I'm
didn't know.
actually planning a family vacation to Disney right now.
Awesome. I didn't know that. That's great. My as you can see, you probably can't see it. I have the little Disney castle in my little credenza right behind me that Joshua actually got for me as a gift.
Oh, cool.
Yes, my family is big Disney nuts as well. So I love that answer. Okay, what is your favorite destination that you have ever been to in your entire life?
Alaska.
Alaska,
I
really? Wow.
love Alaska. Oh my gosh, it is just majestic and full, and the air is clean and crisp. And I could go to Alaska every year and never get tired of it.
Awesome. And what's on your bucket list? Where's the next place that you just have to get to?
Ooh, that's tough. I am eyeing a Norway cruise to see the fjords, because
Uh-huh.
everyone says if you love Alaska as much as I do, that you need to see the fjords in Norway. So looking at that, just found out yesterday that the new MSC ship, their first sailing is going to be a Norway cruise. So maybe.
That sounds like it'd be very nice. I think it'd be a good choice. All right. Last question for you, Lisa. As you look at the travel industry, and we've gone through quite a lot of change over the last few years, we all know that. What excites you most about where the travel industry is today, as we're looking coming towards the end of 2022 and going into 2023? What excites you most about our industry?
I'm just so excited that things are back to normal, number one, and that people are excited about travel again. People who pre pandemic may have been a little hesitant or nervous about trying new things. They were cooped up for so long and did nothing. They're like, let me out of here. I want to do something. And people are planning those bucket list trips that they've always had in the back of their mind because,
Mhm.
I mean, we've seen so much that's happened over the last few years, and some people are realizing, I need to do this now. I don't need to wait 3, 4, 5 years. I need to do it now. So seeing people realize their dreams, I just love.
I couldn't agree more. Well, listen, we are out of time. We have to send it back to the gang. But I want to thank you so much for joining us on the Weekly
Thank you
Chatter.
for inviting me.
You have such a great story. I see that you are really successful, but you're one of those people that you're just fun to cheer for. And I hope your success just keeps going. And I can't wait to
Thank
see
you.
what you guys are going to do.
Thanks so much.
All righty. Well, we will talk to you later. Joshua, let's send it back over to you.
Bye.
I love it. So, guys, if you are joining and you weren't a part of the beginning of the show, my internet has been very choppy. So, like a bad cruise holiday where it's giving you seasickness, I apologize. I apologize. So, anyway, if you can hear me, I'm glad that I'm making that connection. Hey, listen, love Elisa, and I've been fortunate enough to travel with Elisa and her husband Jason, and they are definitely creating content all the time. In fact, I kept interrupting them while they were creating content. And if you remember, I also did that with Michael from Prodigy. I'm just so used to just being able to talk whenever, but these guys are creating content. You need to get out of their way. It's such a it's such an eye-opening experience if you are not creating a lot of content or running a social media the way that these guys do. It's so fascinating to watch them um, figure out what would be entertaining to their audience. And I think that that's a great lesson that you can apply to not only creating video content, but also your social posts. What about your email marketing? Create content that is engaging, and it doesn't have to be so elusive, and you don't have to search for perfection. You just have to you know, think about that one person in your audience. What would you say to them? How would you keep them entertained if you were in a conversation with them? And that's what you need to either capture in a photo or write if you're writing from the heart. But think about, keep one person in mind. Don't imagine this like faceless void that you're communicating to. Communicate with someone. Have that mindset. And I guarantee you it will change the way you create content. So anyway, also, I wanted to share a tip that Elisa shared on the Crown call for our Crown Jewel members this week. She said something that she's been doing every single day during Monday through Friday. She goes through and makes a Facebook post for a vacation promotion every single day, and she's been doing it now for on a regular basis. And what she does, which I mean, that's great that she's putting out content like that on a regular basis. But what she does is she takes the photo of that represents the vacation, represents the experience, and she puts it into Canva, the free version of Canva, and then she drops she puts a little subtext in there with her email address. So if someone shares her post, her contact information doesn't get lost. It's right there in the picture every single time. I thought that was a brilliant tip because it's right there, and hopefully people are sharing it and it doesn't get lost in kind of just, oh, that's a pretty picture. It actually has her information no matter who shared it. So very good tip. Elisa, I did say I was going to share it, but I was going to take credit for it. But I thought, maybe not this time. All right. So I'm hoping. So while I'm having bad internet, Velma was having some thunderstorms in Texas. So I hope it's not a whole Wizard of Oz thing happening there. Dorothy, are you there?
I am here. We are under a tornado watch and I see the tree limbs flying by the window, but I'm here. Not sure how much, but it looks a little
As long
fuzzy
as
to
you don't
me.
Yeah, as long as you don't
Mm.
see some, evil woman on a bicycle going by the window, I think you're good. Alright, well, I'm gonna turn it over to you to take us through our top 3 sales positions, so, take it away, Velma.
Okay, thanks. All right. Well, this week, the top three revenue sales. I always want to emphasize this is revenue. These are not the sales figures. This is the commission earned for the week. In the number three spot, 7,924. Woohoo! Yeah, I like that, Joelle. I like the number little threes popping up. And this member earned that revenue by selling a mixture of hotel bookings and airline tickets, and really quite a few of different miscellaneous on that sale. And then in the number two spot, this is interesting. 11,998, and this is all FunJet. Everything, all this revenue was earned from sales with FunJet. I'm so impressed. I think this is great. I love FunJet. I sold it a lot during the years, and I know there's a lot of revenue to be made through selling FunJet vacations. Then number three, we take a pretty big jump here, 21,389, and yes, and this is a sale. Yes, a sale with classic vacations. Yeah, how about that? Awesome. This is awesome, awesome. And I wanted to just quickly, if I still have, I think I have a couple of more minutes. I went through the sales. There were a lot of members that had sales this week. It was great. It was a great revenue week for the entire Travel Quest membership. And but there were a few vendors or suppliers that really stood out that people were selling. Unique or Sandals Vacations, Apple, Walt Disney World, Vacation Express, Universal, and Delta Vacations. And on the cruise side, I have to say it. There was only one sale, but I like to say it. Hurtigruten. Someone sold a Hurtigruten. Woohoo! And then lots of Royal Caribbean, Azamara, NCL, Holland America, Virgin Voyages, Princess, and MSC. And then there were a couple of huge Silver Seas revenue sales. So anyway, that it was a good sales week. Very good.
Hey, oh, I thought we were gonna share a screen there, Velma, can you hear me? There we are,
But
alright.
yes, I can. And
Those were some really good
yes,
numbers.
yes, great numbers. And what was so impressive is that the number one spot, that was a sale. They made a sale. I love that. Mm.
Well, and I love the fact that you, love saying Hurtigruten. Uh, that it that's a
Love
big
it.
test. I think we should,
I'm going to have
test everybody. Can you pronounce it?
yes. And spell it. And spell it.
Well, everybody on in the members only Facebook group is hoping that you stay safe through this tornado watch. But if you do end up in Oz, direct just go right to the Emerald City. Like don't get distracted by anybody. Don't talk to strangers along the way.
No, I won't. And I have my red slippers on, so I'm ready to go.
Awesome. We'll have a fantastic weekend. Thank you as always for joining us.
You too. Bye, Joshua.
By Velma. She is awesome. I love Velma. And if you love Velma too, then she has on the 9th at noon Eastern time, she has another one of her quick take. Well, it's a little bit longer than a quick take, a short webinar around groups. So you booked a group. Now what? And this is somebody who is a group specialist. She knows what she's talking about. So even if you have been selling groups, I guarantee you're going to pick up some great tips from Velma. And if you want to get started in groups, she is the source. So not only does she have some of these live webinars that are going on, but all of this content is also available in the training video section, the learn section, then training videos in the Pro Portal. So please, if you can't make it live, you can watch it on demand. So don't miss out. She's done quite a few of these group sessions, and you want to check them out. And while I'm talking about events, on the 8th at 3, Celeste is going to be with Beth from Vax. And it's a session all about Vax, getting you familiar with Vax, everything at your fingertips with Vax. I think you'll learn a lot through that session. And also, if you've never met Beth from Vax, she is just a remarkable person. So you definitely want to tune in for that. And then also on the 9th, along with Velma's session, we have another session with Celeste at 3 Eastern Time. And keeping along the theme of groups, it's Europe Express, and they're going to be talking about private groups in Europe. So that makes sense, right? Europe Express, Europe. But they're going to be talking about specifically about private groups. And then on the 10th, we've got a very busy week next week. We've got at 11 on the 10th, we have Apple Leisure Group Vacations, or ALG Vacations, sorry, I should say. And it's going to be an introduction to ALG Vacations. Aaron and Celeste. Aaron from ALG is going to be there along with Celeste. And then Tatiana on the 10th at 12 Eastern Time. We have another Agent Profiler workshop starting up. So all of those are or will be in the calendar in the Pro Portal, so you can register. So stay tuned for that. They'll also be, of course, in network news. So with that said, I think Jason is standing by if I'm still connected. Jason, are you there? There he
I
is.
am here. How are you?
Good. So everybody, I called Jason right before the show and I was like, hey man, you might have to take over and drive because the internet's been a little spotty. So he's been waiting in the wings.
I have been here like a backup quarterback on the sideline, ready to jump in at any moment. Thank goodness for everybody watching that I haven't had to do that. So I'm here for you though. His internet just
Is that
froze. How
baseball?
about it? Like seriously? Are you there, Joshua? Is it baseball? No, a quarterback
Can you
plays
hear me?
football. Now, I know you know that. Yeah, now I can. Oh, the wonders of
Yeah,
live
I just like to.
broadcasting.
Well, am I live or not? Because if I'm not, then let's let Joel kill me.
Well, don't kill you. I can hear you. It's just that now we have a weird little delay. So, Joshua, I think we're both live. So, I will say before we jump into the headlines, it's been a busy news week. We have a lot of interesting things happening in the industry. But I got to say, as soon as we turn the page on Halloween, at my house, we skip Thanksgiving. I mean, we're very thankful for so many things, but we skip kind of prepping for Thanksgiving, and we are one of those crazy families who goes straight to Christmas. So already in our house, it looks like a Christmas bomb went off, and we have Christmas decorations everywhere. And this weekend will be Christmas decorating week. And it started during the pandemic in 2020 when we were, everyone was feeling down on everything. And the Halloween came and went, and we said, let's just go ahead and decorate for Christmas. So I'm curious if anyone else is crazy like us. But I'm excited and I'm ready for the holiday season. So hopefully we'll get to watch Elf or something like that this weekend. But let's get back to the news. We have obviously some big stories. I mean, the big story of the week was Norwegian Cruise Line announcing that they are now paying commissions on non-commissionable fares. So I guess they're CNCFs, commissionable non-commissionable fares. So but that's big news, and we've had discussions about it in various meetings this week and on our Crown Call. And I'm curious. Obviously, it's good news. Obviously, um, it's welcome news. The big question will be: Will NCL competitors follow suit? Will industry volume will share shift from some of the other big cruise lines towards NCL, and that will be very interesting to see how that unfolds. And I'm curious from those of you watching today and tuning in. I'm sure this is welcome news again, but is it going to change your booking patterns? Is it going to change how when you have an apples to apples comparison, all else equal, is it going to sway you at all? So I'm curious to hear that. Joshua, are you back?
Am I back?
It looks like you're back. I see you. So let's
This is
see.
very strange.
Okay, I just want to go to the comments real quick to see if anyone else is crazy like me. Stacy says her daughter is decorating for Christmas as well, so I'm glad I'm not alone. Rebecca Anderson, however, does not seem to be so enthused. Um, Mary, hey Mary, very good to see you. She says the cruise rates will increase to cover this. Now, that is a very interesting point, and I would kind of tend to agree with you, Mary. I think NCL is certainly looking to, from it's not like nothing inside. They are very much looking to maintain price points and increase them essentially to the extent they can, and increase marketing to try to fill capacity. So it will be interesting to see where prices go. I mean, obviously, fuel prices are a huge component for them, for all the cruise lines right now. So that will be interesting to see. Diane says, "No, I'm crazy," but Mary's with me. She's putting up Christmas too. I'm glad. And Cynthia says her tree is going up next weekend. All right, I'm glad I'm not the only one. We'll move on from the Christmas decorating, but I'm glad I'm not the only one. So NCL, obviously a huge story. Another big story, we talked about it several weeks ago, and I just want to remind everybody, we have something we all need to do, or all should do, and that is to help ASTA in their efforts to fight against the proposed Department of Transportation rule. And for those of you who are not up to speed on that, what the Department of Transportation has proposed is essentially making travel agencies responsible for providing refunds to customers when an airline cancels or significantly changes a flight. Now, regardless whether the agency is actually holding the funds. So, use your imagination. Customer buys a flight, airline gets paid for the flight gets canceled, airline won't give a refund. According to this Department of Transportation rule, it's saying now the client can go to the travel agency, even though they don't have the money anymore to provide the refund. That's obviously a problem. So there's two things that y'all need to do. One, and we put both of these in a top story in WorldVia Pro. The first thing you need to do is ASTA has put together a survey that essentially is gathering all of the feedback from the advisor community, just so they can show lawmakers and policymakers, hey, here's what our industry thinks about this idea. Obviously, this idea is not a great idea. There are some things that are very good in the proposed rule, but that particular aspect is an issue. So click on that story in WorldVia Pro. You're going to see two links. One of them is a link to take that survey. It'll take you 2 minutes. Please go do that if you haven't done it already. The second thing you can do is there's a second link or a button in the call to action, and that's to go out and fill out a contact form. And what it does, ASTA's prepared a form letter, and when you fill in your name and your address, it's going to send this form letter, kind of expressing ASTA's point of view, and I think all of our point of view on this, to your local Congress person and to your senator. and that it helps to build the political pressure that will hopefully guide rule policymakers to have a second look at this. So it's very easy to do. You just put in your name, your email address, your address, and it will say, here's your representatives. Who do you want to send it to? Now you can also put in a personal note, and I would encourage you to do that because it's great if they get 100,000 form letters. It's even better if they get personal stories, so they understand how this will impact them or impact you. Sorry. So please go do that. Go to WorldVia Pro. It's in the top stories section. Click on that, and there's some links in there on a button. So please go do that. It's been in the news. It hasn't. The NCL story and some other things have kind of pushed it down a little bit from the top headlines this week. But I can't underscore how important it is to the overall agency community for your support in those things. So please go do that. Now, Joshua, I don't know if you're on or you're not, but as I look through the headlines each week, I always look to see if there's something that you might be interested in. And something caught my
Oh, I love
eye
it.
because I know you have expensive taste. And I know you are a man of
Mm.
sophistication. Um, and that is, we've seen a lot of world cruises. Yes, exactly. We've seen a lot about world cruises over the last, year or so. And it seems like everybody's coming out with a world cruise offering. Well, Azamara is now the latest, and they have a new world cruise itinerary for 2025. Now, get this, as I was looking through this, I was like, this sounds perfect for Joshua. It's a 155 night voyage, right? Very nice. It's going to visit 37 countries. It'll have 46 either late night departures or complete overnights. And this can be and there's all kinds of inclusions and extras for that world cruise traveler. And the best part is inside cabins start at just $40,000 a person. A veranda cabin will set you back 46,000 a person. But Joshua, this is the part where I was thinking just about you. The owner suite will set you back a mere $157,000 per person. So as soon as I saw that, I said, World Cruise, that is Joshua. 300K, no big deal, right?
Yeah, I hope it's not my connection off, but thank you for that gift. You all heard this, right? That I'm so
Oh,
excited. I
there,
heard
there
Joshua,
must
you're
be a
going.
there must be a
Uh,
problem in the there must be a problem in the transmission. That wasn't a gift. Now, in all seriousness, we do see a lot of world cruises out there, and they do have eye-popping costs. But for some affluent travelers, it is in their budget, amazingly, right? Wouldn't that be great? And it really can set you apart. Now, and it can make your year. And in our previous agency at Main Street, we sold a handful of world cruisers, and it would add a meaningful boost to the bottom line each and every year when we had those types of passengers. So, it is a specialty. It is difficult to crack into, but for what it's worth, the very top end of the market does continue to expand. So it is something that you shouldn't ignore, especially if you're already active in the luxury space. Now,
and
speaking
uh,
of,
ca-
yeah,
wait, can I pause? Okay. So one thing I'd
sure.
like to say there is even if you are not in that space right now, or you don't think you're in that space right now, uh marketing world cruises even with like passive effort, like maybe you send out an email broadcast when dates are announced, or put together an email occasionally that's talking about world cruises. You never know who is been thinking about it if you maybe don't have that relationship, or you're not having that dialogue with them. But it's wouldn't that be amazing? I would love to be away for more than half the year. And it might make me say, well, I can't do that, but I can do a 5 day out of Port Canaveral. So can we make that happen? So look at it not necessarily as selling world cruises, but it's such a great topic to maybe cause some inspiration and maybe get somebody to say, oh my goodness, I was meaning to reach out to you because we want to do a cruise. Now we're not doing that one, but you know, it's don't not talk about it just because you don't think you have the customers for it.
Yep, that's right. That's right. Now speaking of luxury, We do next year have a couple of immersion programs that we'll be doing. One is in luxury travel, and another is in group travel. And I saw a story this week, and some of you may have as well, that Travel Market Report did a survey that 75% of advisors sell at least some group travel. And I thought that was an interesting number. It was probably a little bit higher than I expected. And when you dig in and you think about it, yeah, that makes sense that many, the three-fourths, would have at least some group activity. But the the big opportunity is to really make that a meaningful part of your business. And quite a few of members across Travel Quest Network have made the move to cater really to groups and to focus on groups because and that is a specialty just like so many other specialties, but it really can help you build a sizable business. Now, groups are not for the faint of heart. There's a lot to know, there's a lot to learn, and that's one of the reasons we're doing the immersion next year around group travel. So just that's another heads up. If you're interested in groups, there's big opportunities there, so be on the lookout for information on those. Let's talk about air for a second. Air is one of those parts of the trip that is, I guess, the necessary evil to experience the rest of the trip more often than not, unfortunately. And as we look at air, a couple things, interesting things from this week. We saw American Airlines signing a new GDS deal with the big three GDSs, Travelport, Sabre, and Amadeus, for more NDC content. And if you're not a GDS user, and most of you listening are not GDS users, the interesting thing about this is, as NDC becomes more ubiquitous, it's going to start changing the landscape of how we sell air, and these agreements between the GDSs and airlines is also going to have some impacts on technology that we provide and make available, and how you can sell some of these ancillary products. So things, not only just the seat upgrades, but some of the other options that airlines are starting to make available. And their effort really is they want to maximize the revenue per seat. They want to get every nickel they can for every single seat on that plane. And that's we all understand that. But where it's interesting for the advisor community is, what does that technology look like that allows us to properly merchandise that content? And this is I guess the reason I wanted to bring this up is, we hear about NDC from time to time, and this is just another indication that it isn't going away. So I know some advisors have taken the stance of, I'm going to put on the blindfold, and maybe if I don't think about it for long enough, it's just going to go away. And I don't think that's the case. The other thing that I was interesting in air, so we saw Delta last week, the pilots union, is having some disagreements with Delta. And now this week, United rejected a new deal. And, we hear about strikes, especially in Europe quite often, but we're starting to see some potential clouds on the horizon in the US air market. And, even though we hope to see fuel costs come down as we go into next year, if there is a pilot strike or a pilot shortage, because so many of the pilots went into forced retirement or selective retirement last year or during the pandemic, if there is a shortage of pilots, even if fuel prices drop, we're going to probably see those airfares stay fairly high into 23 and beyond. So the good news is these pilot unions are looking for an agreement. I truly believe they don't want to go on strike. So it will be interesting to see how it plays out, and how much the airlines need to bring to the table to avoid a strike. Because as they're kind of building back from the pandemic, and they're finally getting pretty good yield, that's the last thing they need, I think, is to have a bunch of flights canceled because of strikes. So that's something just to keep our eye on. One more. Yeah, you got something, Joshua?
No, this is you hear it here first. I love that Jason's doing the headlines like this. Man, I am super informed going into the weekend.
Here, I got one more fun thing for you.
Okay.
Stephen Haddam, he's our cruise guy, right? And I have selectively taken the mantle of our river cruise guy, because that's my jam. Um, and I saw this week that we have a new river cruise player coming out that will be debuting next spring in 2023. And we've seen a lot of hotel companies get into river cruising before, or ocean cruising. Like there was Carlton program, etc. So now we have another hotelier that is getting into the cruise space, and that's the Seaside Collection. So, if you're not familiar with them, they have 11 boutique hotels in Europe and some other places, and they are getting into river cruising on the Danube. And so, starting next spring, they're going to debut the Riverside Mozart. Now, if the Mozart sounds familiar to you, it's because that was previously the Crystal Cruises Mozart. So they purchased that ship from the now defunct Crystal, and will be debuting next spring. So that'll be interesting to see how they enter what is now becoming a fairly crowded space, a crowded market in the European river cruise segment. So we'll see, what they do to try to come up with a unique take on that, but it'll be fun to see. And
And
that
on
is
that, some
your
of
news of the
our
week, Joshua.
No, I was just going to say, and with that, some of our favorite supplier partners, travel partners, have joined that team. So we should see some familiar faces over there very soon. So very excited about that.
That's right.
It is Jason. The time flew by, and thank you for covering for my bad internet. I hope I'm not still lagging here, but thank you as
Well,
always.
we'll,
You
we'll,
got
we'll
my
do what
back,
we can do.
guys. Yes. Guys, thank you so much for joining us. I hope you enjoyed this weekly Chatter Live, and keep it going. Next week, you'll see us back 4 p.m. Eastern on Friday for the weekly Chatter Live. Have a phenomenal weekend, everyone. Bye.